Bond stands alone.
17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
Washington outside left. Roethlisberger has time. Throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Ervin. Ervin and Curry, one-on-one. Ervin puts it up.
Let's go. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes, what is up? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jordan. Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, lads. Joined with my man, Ervin Irvin, Washington. We are here to talk some college football. We're going to preview week 4, handful of games. There's actually a ton of fucking good games this weekend. So we had to be a little bit selective or else we'd be here for fucking 3 hours. So we got about 6-7 games we're gonna talk about. We're gonna break down. We're gonna preview. We're gonna handicap, and then tomorrow we'll be posting our top 5 plays of the week, which may or may not be games we talk about tonight. So follow us on Twitter at Jordan Rules TSP. You can follow Ervin at Ervin Irvin TSP, and you can get our top 5 picks. You can go to our Facebook Taproom Sports Podcast. You can go to our Instagram at Taproom Sports Podcast. Get the picks there too. We last week we went 6-4, so we won money. Both weeks we've been in the positive, so this is let's keep the trend rolling this week. You know what I mean? We're gonna keep it rolling. Yeah, man. But before we get to the sports, I do have to mention we are being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device and use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That is free, or not free craft beer, but it's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to move, but we are giving you 2 free ones if you use promo code TAPROOM. So go do that right now, and then you'll get it in a couple weeks. And then there's going to be some even better games that you can sit on your couch and drink it, man. What better thing than that? How you doing tonight, Irv?
Chilling.
Just chilling. That was the shortest.
Yeah, I was trying to watch that, that new Jeffrey Dahmer show, but this other movie caught my eye, so I'm gonna watch that after we lay down this college football.
Bro, I was about to watch it last night after we were done recording, and I was like, nah, I'll be up all night if I fucking watch that shit. So it is on my list of things to watch. So if you do watch it, let me know how it is before I watch it.
All right.
But I am interested in that. But that's dope. Before we get to college football, though, some news broke right before we came on air about an hour ago. Adrian Wojnarowski tweets out that Ime Udoka is facing disciplinary action by the Boston Celtics for something he did. Now, obviously, if the league isn't involved, it can't be that bad. It's got to be something like within the organization. Hearing rumors of assault, hearing rumors of ejaculation in the locker. I mean, there's just a lot of shit going on. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, though? Because this could be, Boston's had a very unusual offseason, and they acquired Malcolm Brogdon. Jaylen Brown was upset that he was in trade talks with Kevin Durant. And then they also acquired Danilo Gallinari. Danilo Gallinari's out for the year.
Tears his ACL. Damn.
I mean, what do you think about this? Like, do you think that it is possibly something that is altering for them this season?
Probably not, because his assistants are still there. So even if he gets suspended for 2-3 months up until All-Star break, as long as he's there for that stretch run to the playoffs, it could hurt their chemistry because you need your leader, which is basically your coach, for team chemistry, holding the guys together when times get rough, stuff like that. But as far as coaching wise and what they do on a day in and day out, I'm sure he would leave a pretty good pretty good template, like ground rules for what to do day in and day out. And probably if he does get suspended, I'm pretty sure he'll still be able to talk to the guys. He just probably won't be able to be in the locker room and coach and stuff like that. So
they said that he's gonna have no contact with the organization, or at least that's what the the tweet said, that Woj's tweet.
Oh damn! Well, if there's no contact with the organization at all during the suspension, then yeah, you would definitely have to lean big time on his
On
what
his
he's been preaching
assistants.
his offseason to his assistants.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I thought it was kind of weird that like Woj would tweet this out without like having any information to back it up. I mean, what's the point of like saying like he's facing disciplinary action, but we don't know what it is yet, and we're gonna find out.
Probably his source within the Boston Celtics or the Boston Globe only told him that it's a suspension, but they didn't give him the full
But
details.
why not just wait?
Oh, he always, people like that got to be first, man.
That's
Breaking the
like
story.
that's like high school drama, dude. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
Bobby
but
got in trouble. He's getting suspended for 2 weeks, but we don't know what he did yet. But we're gonna find out. It's like, dude, just wait till you find out and then say it.
them
You know.
Woj bombs, bro. That's the thing. That's a social media
Well, I'm not too
staple.
fond of Wojnarowski. I fucking hate the guy because he ruined the trade for the Bucks for Bogdanovich and because of him, remember we got caught for tampering because he fucking tweeted it out before the actual
Trade went through.
free agency start period started. So
Damn, that's fucked up.
I don't like that guy. He can kiss my ass.
Okay.
No, I'm just playing. I don't have any. I don't hold. I mean, I hold a grudge against him for that, but I don't like hate the guy. I don't even fucking know him. Let's move over to some football. We had to tell the news because it literally just broke. If you live under a rock or haven't heard by now, and you're listening to this on Thursday morning, you probably heard the news by now. But if you haven't, that's the news. When we get more information, we'll definitely pass it along as well. But let's hop into some college football games. So we got a few games on Thursday night, which is probably a good thing because as we talked about last night, the NFL Thursday night game is not necessarily what we call a barn burner.
Yeah, it's not. It's gonna be a snooze fest probably.
Yep, but we do have a few college football games, and one of them is a matchup between two Power Five teams, and it's West Virginia. They're heading into Blacksburg to face the Virginia Tech Hokies. West Virginia right now 1-2 on the year. Virginia Tech 2-1. All right. What's your thoughts on this game? The total right now 50.5. It's been bet up from 47.5.
Um, West Virginia, I guess they have their defense is playing pretty good, but they've played Berkovich. Well, how you pronounce his name is a legit QB, but they've played Old Dominion and somebody else. So the defense has looked pretty good. The offense is terrible. So, but they definitely got to put up some points because we've seen West Virginia score a good amount of points on all three of their games. It's just their defense got to step up and be able to get stops and be able to get them some leeway.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting game because I don't think West Virginia is that good, and I didn't think they were that good coming into the year. I like them going under their win total. And they did play a good game against Pitt. They did cover, but that's a rivalry game, right? So we talked about rivalry games that week where you basically always want to take the dog because most rivalry games always come within 7 points. So if you're getting 7 points, it's almost auto bet the 7. You know what I mean? This is a different situation. And Virginia Tech, while they're not great offensively, they are top 3 in defense this year. And they did play Boston College, and Old Dominion is a little bit better than anticipated. They're one of the, but they're also Old Dominion's offense sucks. I'm not gonna say they're a fucking top 10 offense in the country. No, they're like top 150 maybe. But Virginia Tech at home, Blacksburg, one of the toughest places to play. Virginia Tech 7-8 against the spread in the last 10 years at home. But you also have to keep in mind that some of those games, especially the losses, they're playing Florida State, they're playing Clemson, powerhouse ACC type teams. In Florida State for a good while, they were national title contenders, right?
Uh-huh.
So I like Virginia Tech here. I took it at 3. It's been bet down to 2. At 2, I still lean Virginia Tech. I don't love it. But I do think at home they're going to have some good momentum. I think defensively they're good enough. Like I said, they're a top 3 defense in yards per play, opponent yards per play, which is a very important stat because if you're only allowing 3 yards per play, you're getting a lot of 3 and outs. You know what I mean? yes, West Virginia is the best offense they're going to play. Yes, Daniels is the best quarterback they're going to see. But I still have a lot of questions about West Virginia's offense. West Virginia's defense. And if Virginia Tech can run the ball and control the clock, which they've done in all three of their games for the most part. Old Dominion, they should have won that game, dude. Old Dominion's quarterback he had like a 42% completion percentage, dude, and they managed to win that game.
Yeah, and well, Virginia Tech's QB got to stop turning the ball over too.
Yeah, they definitely have to maintain turnovers, but it's not like West Virginia's out there getting a ton of turnovers either. You know what I mean?
But
like,
if you got a
it's bad
QB that's
defense.
prone to turnovers, if you throw a wrinkle in the game that he hasn't seen on tape, it can confuse the hell out of him. But let's see. Blacksburg is a home field advantage. It's not the home field advantage that it used to be. Because West Virginia looked horrible against Kansas. So I think Virginia Tech should be able to pull this out at home. In the beginning of the week, I was riding with West Virginia, but the more I look at it, Virginia Tech should definitely be able to pull this out.
And Virginia Tech put up 27 points on Boston College, and Boston College has a really good defense. They have a better defense than West Virginia.
Yeah, so I'll ride with West Virginia just for the simple fact that they're at home and the defense should be able to stop. No, I'll ride with Virginia Tech. The defense should make enough plays. The offense should score just enough to beat them. It probably could come down to a last second field goal or a touchdown. So Hokies bring it man, it's gonna be a sellout too. So I think that home field advantage will come through for them.
It's gonna be rocking. What do you think about the total at 50.5? Because at first when I was looking at it, I was like, man, like that's like an easy almost auto bet on the under, right? But then I was thinking about it and I was like, well, if West Virginia's defense is as bad as I think it is, Virginia Tech actually might be able to score some points. And let's just say they put up 30 points, right? There's a high chance that West Virginia puts up 24 to 27 or maybe even more, 31, and then the total goes over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that Virginia Tech because Virginia Tech put up 27 points on Boston College.
Well, that could have been a fluke, so we'll see. If I had to bet one, maybe I would bet the over, honestly, because West Virginia can score, and that would make.
But can they score against a defense like Virginia Tech?
Well, you can't put too much in stock in Virginia's Tech defense, though. So
they only held Boston College to 14 points.
Well, that's fine, but we thought Boston College was gonna be legit, and they're not at all. So,
but Boston College also has played two of the better defenses in Power 5. They played Rutgers, which has a really good defense, and they played Virginia Tech, also a really good defense. So it's not like they're struggling against like some garbage FCS programs. Like, they played.
No, I'm not saying that. I just don't think that over the test of the season that defense is going to be anywhere near the top 10. So I'm not saying West Virginia is going to just run them off the field. I think West Virginia is going to score points. I just don't think they're going to score enough points to win the game.
Yeah.
But if you had to bet the over under, depending on because Virginia Tech offense is not that good, so I would say under because this probably be like a 24-17 game or 27-20, probably something like that. I don't think it's gonna get into the 30s for either team.
Yeah, I could agree with that. All right, let's move over to this next game here. So we're both on Virginia Tech here. Both kind of lean the under. Like I said, I like it at 3, at 2, 2.5. I still lean Virginia Tech. Don't love it though. Don't necessarily love it. All right, let's talk about this next game. This game is one that I have my eye on since last Saturday, even before last Saturday, because it's well documented that one of these teams is very bad against top 25 programs, and they're 3-0 this year, and that's the Maryland Terrapins. They're heading into the Big House to face Michigan. This is the big noon kickoff game. So our guy, what's his name, doing the play-by-play?
Gus Johnson
and Joel Klatt. They'll be on the call, and it's crazy to me because every time I feel like Gus Johnson is on the play-by-play, like the underdog always wins. except for Nebraska.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
But right now, Michigan is they're laying 17, so they're minus 17. Over under total opened at 55.5. It's been bet up to 65. Irv,
Ooh, that's a lot of points.
that's a
Well, they could
lot of
both,
points.
but they could both easily get into the 30s. I can honestly see this game being a shootout because, let's be real, Michigan defense ain't been tested
At
at
all.
all this season. They haven't faced, well, they faced some FBS. They faced FBS schools, but those three schools are two of them are legit bottom five FBS programs right now,
Yep.
and they could have
I would
got
say all
anything.
three of them might be.
Yeah, and they could have got anything they wanted at any time. So we don't really know what Michigan is going to be until they start playing way better competition. Now Maryland, they can score with anybody, but their defense has been playing better this year. They added some good transfers on the transfer portal. They can rush the passer better. They're getting more. They getting more pressure on the QB with their front four, so that's a good sign because their offense can score with anybody. They just got to play a lick of defense, and they could give anybody in the Big Ten or anybody around the country problems because that's how good their offense is.
I will say this. Against SMU, I was expecting that game to be like 50 to fucking 52, dude. I was expecting that game to be an absolute shootout. And in the first half, it really looked like that. SMU scored 24 points in the first half. SMU only scored 3 points in the second half. Absolutely neutralized by Maryland's defense. You nailed it on the head. Maryland has an elite offense. They have a top 15 offense in the country. They could absolutely score with anyone. The biggest question mark about Maryland has always been, can Tagovailoa hold on to the football and not commit bad turnovers? And he hasn't done it yet this season. And I say yet because there's still a lot of season to be played.
Yep.
And Maryland's defense has been much improved. And I thought that SMU game, and most people that are probably listening to this that don't follow college football, they're probably saying like, well, SMU isn't a great team. No, SMU is a good team. SMU is one of the top teams in the AAC. They were one of the top teams projected to win that conference. They're really good. And Trevor Mordecai is an NFL legit talent at QB. And their wide receiver, Rice, he's arguably a top 5 wide receiver in the country.
Yeah, they got a good ass offense. They can score on anybody too. They just got to play defense.
Yeah, and you know, asking to hold Maryland's offense is a tough task. But this is a big game for Maryland because Maryland is 0-10 against top 25 teams in the last few years. They haven't been able to beat anybody. And go ahead, Irv.
And those games have been ugly too. They haven't been close. But
Ugly.
then these last couple years is because of the turnovers. I think one game, I don't know if it was against Michigan or Penn State, but I forget Tua's little brother. I know his first name starts with a T.
It's Talua.
Talia Tagovailoa. I think it was it Penn State or Ohio State? That game, I think he threw like 3 or 4 interceptions.
Iowa.
Iowa had a couple fumbles. It was just horrible.
Yeah, it was a Friday night game.
As long as he don't have a game like that and he keeps playing efficient. Right now in the season, he's 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and his completion percentage is 77%. So I like what I see so far. He is going to be tested. Michigan has a good front. They have a decent secondary. I don't really know what their secondary is because it hasn't been tested, but I know their front seven is pretty damn good because even though you're playing an inferior opponent, when you're able to stuff the run the way they have been, that means your run defense, your front seven is pretty good when it comes to run defense. So we're gonna see what Michigan really is when their first Big Ten challenge. So that's gonna be a really good challenge for them.
This is 2 teams that are top 10 in points per play. But like you said, we kind of got to take Michigan's with a grain of salt because they haven't played fucking anybody.
Yeah,
so I mean, they played Hawaii, who made Vanderbilt look like the best team in the country. So
yeah,
you definitely got to take it into consideration. And I think that's the scariest part about this spread because Michigan's laying 17. Personally, I thought this line was going to open like 21. I was absolutely shocked that it opened at 17, but it showed me that the market kind of looks at Maryland the same as I do and kind of looks at Michigan the same way both of us do, which is kind of like, well, yeah, they look really great, but look who they played.
And this is gonna be JJ McCarthy's first big game.
And
So now
apparently
we're
he's
gonna
banged
see.
up.
Ooh. Okay,
That's the
so
word out there. There's no official injury reports in college, but
mhm.
there is like beat writers and stuff saying that JJ McCarthy and Cade McNamara both are a little banged up.
Okay, well, this is gonna be McCarthy's first big game, so we're gonna have to see what he really is and what he can be under pressure, not just running free and being careless and coming in when you up 21 plus points. So this is going if he's starting and he's good to go, I'm gonna keep a close eye on him and see how he plays in a big game.
Yep. I think this is going to give us a lot of good intel on both of these teams as to where they are amongst the Big Ten. Because, I don't think Ohio State is as good as we anticipated. So I
Yeah.
do think that, if Maryland pulls off this upset, and obviously they're 17-point dogs, like it's not highly likely. But if they do pull off this upset, I mean, there's a good chance that they could win the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because Michigan is definitely probably the second best team in this conference.
I agree.
So I'm looking forward to this one. I do like Maryland plus the 17 points. I do think that they're going to cover this. I think this is going to be a very close game because I think Maryland can score enough to the point where, Michigan's not just going to blow them out of the water. And I do kind of agree with the over here, 65. I think this could be a very high scoring game.
Yeah, I think it is gonna be too, honestly.
I think it's going to be very high scoring. Maryland's definitely going to have to stop the run. That's going to be very important. If they can contain the run, it's going to neutralize what Michigan wants to do, and I think that's going to be very important. All right, let's move over to this next game where we got Tennessee against Florida. Florida's heading into Tennessee. Right now, Florida is plus 10.5, Tennessee minus 10.5. The total here is 62. Depending on the book, it kind of varies. The total I'm seeing anywhere from 60 to 62.5. So if you like the over, get the lowest number. If you like the under, get the highest number. Shop around, get the best number. What's your thoughts on this game, though? Both of us kind of have the same opinion on Anthony Richardson, but what do you think about this one?
So he hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. I think his completion percentage is less than 50%.
53%.
So okay, so that's close enough.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad nowadays.
I like Tennessee. Florida has proved that they can be a decent team, but after that, after that Utah win, I think they came a little bit back down to earth because they didn't look like the same team at all against Kentucky. And then they struggled against UCF. They had to kick a field goal to win that game, if I'm correct, because I didn't really watch it. I just saw the highlights.
Yep.
But I still see that he hasn't thrown a touchdown. And we was very high on Tennessee. We said they had an outside shot at getting to the SEC championship and giving Georgia a run for their money. I don't know how good that's going. I don't know how good that's going to hold up because Georgia like the best team in the country right now. But
Agreed.
they definitely, if Tennessee the team, I think they're going to be. I think this game is not even going to be that close, to be honest. I think they win comfortably by at least 10 or more points. I could see it getting 14 to 21 because if Richardson can't sustain drives and keep the defense off the field and let them get some type of rest and momentum, because Hendon Hooker only threw three INTs last year, and I don't think he's yet to throw one this year. So he's a real good playmaker at quarterback. So the longer that defense is on the field, the worse it's going to be for Florida. Now Florida they do have a shot at winning because Richardson is a great athlete. They're billing him as the next Cam Newton for some reason. I seen a mock. I think who mock draft is it? Mel Kiper got him going top 15 in his mock draft. So in his latest mock draft. So good luck with that, Mel. But this could get ugly in Neyland on Saturday. I'm gonna be honest. If Florida does win, I would low key be shocked. That's how high I am on Tennessee right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know about laying the 10.5 just because it is a rivalry game.
Yeah, I would take the money line. I would take Tennessee money line, honestly.
And there's not a ton of value. They're looking at like minus 400.
Yeah.
But Florida, they've lost the last 5 games against Tennessee by over 20 points per game. And yes, this is a different Tennessee team.
Totally different.
But it is still a rivalry at the same time. But maybe they do have it out for Florida. You know what I mean? Maybe they do want to put the pedal to the metal and blow the fucking brakes off Florida in this instance, because this is a big time.
If I was Josh Heupel, I would, because honestly, if Tennessee goes out and whoops on Florida, and we expect, well, we're gonna hold off on the other games, but if we expect some other teams to stumble or not be as good as we think they might be, this could be a game that puts them solidly in the top 10.
Yep. Well, they're in our top 10 though.
Yeah, they're not. They're in my top 10 already.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I agree with you. Anthony Richardson being the top 15 pick is fucking crazy to me. Like, that's delusional.
that's your boy Mel Kiper.
I mean, he's a great athlete, dude. Don't get me wrong, but like,
Yeah, he's an amazing athlete. But from what I've seen from the pocket,
I say Jalen Hurts can't throw, dude. Anthony Richardson is like a poor man's Jalen Hurts, bro. Like, he absolutely cannot throw. And I think that Utah game kind of put film out for teams. Remember, we were talking about that, because he was really just making plays with his legs. So it's like, once you start containing him, which Kentucky did very well, they're forcing him to make plays down the field, and he couldn't do it.
Pick sixes, incomplete passes, air mailing it over receivers' heads.
Yep.
So,
and keep in mind too, this is Florida's first time leaving Gainesville this year.
Yeah, first time. All three of their first games been at home.
So this could be a big spot for Tennessee to really show the country who they are and what they can do. So I'm with you. I like the over here. I actually bet it earlier in the week. I got it at 59.5. I do think that it's going to be a little bit high scoring, only for the fact that, you know, Tennessee's defense isn't terrible, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's not great.
Yeah. They have been a little bit better. They did give up 27 points to Pitt, but they only gave up 6 to Akron. But Akron's one of the worst teams in the country, and then they only gave up 10 to Ball State. Ball State's not a terrible MAC team, but they're not great either.
Yeah, they're like middle of the pack.
Yeah, so I do think Florida will be able to score a little bit, you know, maybe 21 to 27 points, kind of similar to what Pitt did. But I definitely am looking for Tennessee to really fucking make a statement here, dude.
35, 40 points, maybe more.
Yep. And I don't think that they're going to let off the gas. Like, this is a game.
They're not.
They're just going to fucking, you know, want to win by fucking 10,000 points, dude, if they could. It's going to be one of those type games. I'm looking forward to this one, dude, because like we said, dude, we're both high on Tennessee, and this is either going to make us look fucking stupid crazy, or it's going to make us look like geniuses, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna be tuned into this game too. I think it's kickoff at noon or 9 o'clock. I gotta check and see.
This is a 3:30 Eastern game, so 12:30 Pacific.
Oh yeah, I'll be tuned in.
Yep, it's gonna be a good one. All right, let's move on to our next game, which I'm trying to find here. Ohio State versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin Badgers are heading into the horseshoe to face the Ohio State Buckeyes. Right now, Ohio State, 18.5 point favorites. This opened at 15.5. It's been bet up to 18.5. The total's at 57 right now. What's your thoughts on this game, Irv?
I think Wisconsin is going to try to ground and pound. They're going to try to bleed as much clock as they can and try to make it a scrappy game. They're going to try to slow down Ohio State as much as they can, because if they can't sustain drives and put up points on the board, Ohio State is probably going to run them off the field, because they have a young defense. The defense has been playing solid, but I don't know if they have the athletes man for man to stick with Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, no chance. They lost at home to Wazoo.
Yeah.
I will say that, you know, Wisconsin maybe has like an equal level defense to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was really able to kind of contain Ohio State's offense. And Ohio State, they put up 77 points last week, or 60. How many did they put up? 77?
Yeah, 77.
But I mean, to be completely honest with you, they played an awful team, dude. You know what I mean? They played, well, Toledo's not, don't get me wrong. Toledo's one of the better
They're
MAC
awful
teams,
compared to.
Yeah. And it doesn't really prove a lot. And that was really the first game where, like, they looked great offensively. Even against Arkansas State, they only put up 45 points, and at times they were really struggling to move the ball in that game. Yeah. So I think it was good for Ohio State to get out and get going. Wisconsin's offense, I mean, dude, they're basically anemic. they really rely on Braylon Allen to do everything because that's all they can do is run the ball because their fucking quarterback is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Wisconsin got to find a way to start getting more decent quarterbacks. All these quarterbacks around the country, and they haven't had a solid one since Russell Wilson. That's crazy.
And he was a transfer.
Exactly.
So I mean that's even worse. I think this game could get ugly. I think this game plays out two ways. I think it's either a fucking total blowout or it's a low scoring close game, dude.
And that Ohio State got to pull out in the fourth quarter.
Yep, I think this could go either ways. Paul Chryst is a good coach. Wisconsin always has a top defense. Braylon Allen can run the ball. And does running the ball take away the pass rush of Ohio State? You know what I mean? If Wisconsin can effectively run the football. So I think that's something to kind of look at in this game. 18 and a half. Go ahead.
Pause. Shams with a shams bomb. Celtics coach Ime Udoka had an improper, intimate, and consensual relationship with a female member of the team staff, sources tell The Athletic. It's been deemed a violation of the franchise code of conduct.
It's not even that serious, bro.
Yeah, it's really not. But it is, because ain't he a married man or engaged or something?
He could be.
With Nia Long. Well, we got the breaking news tonight. So back to college football.
There we go. We got the news. I was hoping for something a little bit more dramatic, to be honest.
Good thing it's not gambling.
Yeah, well, if it was gambling, the league would have stepped in. That's how I knew it wasn't too serious, or else they would have been all over it. Cool. Let's see here. Wisconsin rushing the football 218 yards per game. Ohio State only giving up 84 yards on the ground. If Wisconsin can't run the football, this game is over.
It's over. It's gonna be a massacre.
So, in which do you think that the under might be the best play here? Because Ohio State could put up 42, and Wisconsin could only score 7.
What's the over under?
57.
Oh yeah, I like the under because I don't think Ohio State's going to be able to just go ham on Wisconsin like that, because Wisconsin does have pride and they have a pretty damn good defensive coach. So I think, I could see it being like 42-7, 42-10, 35-14, something like that. So if I had to bet, I would like the under.
Yeah, I think I kind of like the under too. Wisconsin only giving up 8 points per game right now on average.
And Ohio State's at home, right?
Ohio State is at home. Ohio State's averaging 207 rush yards a game, but keep in mind their last two opponents.
Yeah, their last two opponents, because did they rush for over 100 yards against Notre Dame?
They did not.
Yeah, see, so, and I think Wisconsin's run defense is better than Notre Dame, so.
Yeah, dude, I kind of like that under, dude, now that we're like looking at this. Because, I mean, 18 and a half, 19 points, that's a lot to lay. And I'm not saying that, that's not a bad, because it's under 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad spread. Plus, you got to factor in they're finally playing a Division I team.
Yeah.
That coming off of 2 straight tomato cans at home.
There's no way I'm taking Wisconsin though. There's no way I'm taking the
There's
points.
no way even with the points, I wouldn't take Wisconsin, because I don't think they win this game unless they can force CJ Stroud to throw some pick sixes.
Actually, I might take the points here, because listen to this: 59% of the bets are on Ohio State, but 90% of the money is on Wisconsin right now
to cover
the spread.
That means Vegas might know. Yeah, Vegas knows something, right?
And if it's like that, then I definitely like the under, because that means that it should be a low scoring game.
Yeah.
So give me that under. That might be my best bet of all these games. Might have to keep that in mind heading into these. All right, let's talk about this next game. We got let me see which one. Let's do Wazoo versus Oregon. Washington State versus Oregon. Oregon's heading into Washington State. Right now, this game is anywhere from 6 to 7. You can find 6s, you can find 6.5, you can find 7.
7 points, yeah.
So again, if you like Washington State to cover, find that 7. If you like Oregon to cover, find that 6, 6.5. What's your thoughts on this game, Irv?
Oregon looks like a totally different team away from Autzen Stadium. So I think this is going to be their first true road test, and they're playing a team that surprised a lot of folks so far. They're undefeated. Besides that shaky start against Idaho, where they needed an interception to win the game at the end of the fourth quarter, they looked pretty good. A lot better on defense than I expected. So Oregon is definitely going to get tested. The thing that we really got to pay attention to in this game is the running. I think Washington is giving up less than 100 yards a game on the ground, and Oregon is rushing for damn near like what 180.
Yeah, they're running the ball pretty well.
Yeah,
But
so
Washington State did have to play Wisconsin. Keep that in mind.
yeah, but then I don't think Wisconsin ran though for a bunch of yards like that against them.
No, they actually held them in check pretty well, and they won the game. And
Yeah,
they went
so
to Wisconsin. They went to Madison, which is
if you can stop Wisconsin running the ball, that's their bread and butter. You're gonna be pretty good running run defense against pretty much anybody else outside of the top tier team. So
so
the thing
teams are
about it
only
is,
averaging.
can Bo Nix beat a team with his arm? That's the biggest question.
Yep.
Not with a lead, with a 20-something point lead, and he just got to play action and throw it over the defensive head because they're worried about getting gashed in the run game. Can he beat a team consistently from the pocket that has good athletes, a good defense, and a pretty good scheme as well? So we'll see. It's a lot of tape on Bo Nix. He has looked good these last two games, but let's keep it in check. He's not a Heisman candidate. He's not an upper tier quarterback. He's Bo Nix. So you get the best you can out of him and see where it could take you. But honestly, and their record in Pullman has been pretty terrible over the last 10 years.
4-11 against the spread.
So yeah, so honestly, if it's plus money on Washington right now, I think it's plus money on Washington, right?
Yeah, it's plus 6.5. The spread money line plus 210.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon could win by like a field goal. I don't see them winning by more than a touchdown if they do win. But I think this game probably comes down to like a field goal or maybe a touchdown, depending on, like I said, it's all going to depend on who establishes themselves in the run game. Is Washington State's defense going to stop them and make Bo Nix beat them with his arm? If they do that, I'm pretty confident Washington wins this game. Washington State.
Yeah, the thing I like about this is that Washington State's defense, they're top 10 in the country right now in yards per play. They're only allowing 91 yards on the ground, and like I said, they played Wisconsin, which is arguably one of the best rushing teams in the entire country. Oregon is averaging 205 yards per game on the ground, and that's a big part of what they want to do because what Washington State is going to want to do, they're going to shut down the run and they're going to force Bo Nix to win this game. If Bo Nix can do that, my hats are off to Oregon, and it's going to be a great victory. But I have not seen Bo Nix ever be able to do that. So until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Give me the points here with Washington State. 4-11 against the spread in Pullman. I don't like it. I like Washington State here. I'd also probably lean the under here. I think I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. These are two good defenses. I thought Oregon was going to be good defensively from the onset of the year. I just didn't know what they were going to be offensively. And against Georgia, they got their fucking break speed off them.
Yeah.
But Georgia looks like hands down the best team in the country at this point. So I'm not sure how much I can use that against Oregon at this point. And Oregon did look good against BYU, and they really neutralized Hall, and they basically took away the run game from BYU. So
yeah,
I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but give me the home team. Pullman's going to be rocking. This game's at 1 o'clock Pacific. Washington State does have a pretty good home field advantage, too. So I'm with you, Irv. I like Washington State here with the points.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this SEC matchup. We got Arkansas heading into College Station to face Texas A&M. Right now, Texas A&M laying 2 points. What's your thoughts on this game?
KJ Jefferson, I think he bounces back, has a better game because he looked as shaky versus Missouri State. I did not see that coming, them having to, basically win the game in the fourth quarter.
It was a total letdown spot, though.
Yeah, it was because they had a big game coming up. So
Yeah.
Good thing they lucked out and won because they're facing the SEC frauds right now. That's what I'm going to call Texas A&M. Jimbo looks like I'll give him his respect because, he's a pretty damn good coach and he's won multiple national championships, one as a head coach. But, man, dude is looking cooked. If Miami played a halfway decent game, they easily win that game last week. But I'll give Texas A&M credit for beating a Miami team that didn't look like they was ready to be under the bright lights right now under
Well,
first year head coach Mario Cristobal. But honestly, I don't see Texas A&M winning this game at all, man. They quarterbacks, they might as well start the freshmen, bro. Them two quarterbacks ain't really giving you nothing.
I was about to ask you if Texas A&M is frauds, what do we call Miami?
That is one big
Well,
pile of shit.
I wouldn't call Miami frauds because Miami didn't come into the season with a whole bunch of hype. They wasn't ranked super duper high like Texas A&M, and they wasn't getting picked to be in the playoffs by certain analysts on on a certain network. But and I'm gonna give Miami a pass too because this is Cristobal's first year, so he has to look better against ACC competition because he beat up on FCS opponents and had Miami looking like world beaters. But they did lose a first real test of the season, so they do got to bounce back from that. I'm not gonna completely crucify Mario for that. Tyler Van Dyke got to step up though, bro. Most people have you as a guaranteed first round pick, so I need to see a lot more from you.
I don't think he's
Um,
accurate enough.
yeah, I got to see a lot more from you, especially against better athletes and better teams. So if you could solidify that first round status. But I don't like Texas A&M. I don't like the way their offense is. It still look archaic. They have no pre-snap movement. They're pretty much line up and just run his pro style offense, and teams are pretty much keying in on it because they know the quarterbacks are not going to beat you deep, and most of the time they're not even trying to throw it deep. So it kind of reminds me of them old NFL offenses that had great defenses and just managed the game and scored enough points. But Texas A&M can't do that because this is not that day and age anymore. And their defense isn't that good to do that against better SEC teams, which they're about to face in Arkansas. So I think this one could get ugly in
Oh,
College Station.
this one is not in College Station. This is a neutral field game at AT&T
Oh, where's that?
Stadium. This is in
AT&T
Dallas.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Oh, so that even gives Arkansas a better shot.
And
Yeah,
last year
I
they
think,
won 20-10 in the same stadium. Arkansas did.
yeah, I think this game has a potential to. I think Arkansas has a potential to win by at least 2 touchdowns, 10 points. I don't see this game being that close, honestly.
Yeah, and Texas A&M has a lot of people on their injury report. White, Nolan, Marshall. Those are the guys that got sat out last week. Marshall, Bowie, Harris, Stewart. But it doesn't say whether they're going to play or not.
Okay.
So that's something to keep an eye on as we move towards this game. My biggest question mark about Texas A&M is like they're just so inept on offense, dude. Like they don't have good quarterback play at all. And Arkansas definitely KJ Jefferson, like while he did look bad last week, I do think that it was a letdown spot in the fact that not only do they have Texas A&M this week, Ervin, the week after they got Alabama. So that worries me for this game a little bit because like where's their head at for this one?
Oh no, they're definitely not looking ahead to Alabama and overlooking Texas A&M because when you overlook teams, that's how you get beat. And they almost got beat last week by Missouri State. So I'm pretty sure Pittman focused them in on this game, and they're gonna take it one game at a time. You always get beat when you're looking ahead. So I don't think that's gonna happen this week. They know they got to focus in because they can't just show up and beat Texas A&M. You do got to beat them. They're still a SEC team with a bunch of talent. It's just that talent ain't being used to the best of its ability, clearly. So Jimbo has to fix that. But as far as the game and what I think is gonna pan out, I think Arkansas just has too many weapons to be stopped by Texas A&M, and I don't think Texas A&M is gonna score enough points to keep up. Honestly, because Miami is not that great of a defense. They getting better, and Texas A&M only scored 16 points against them. Now, what defense would you rather have, Arkansas's or Miami's right now?
I mean, that's tough. Arkansas is not the greatest defensive team.
Yeah, but they're a better defensive team than Miami.
I don't know. I mean, they're allowing 421 yards per game, 27 points per game, 352 yards through the air. The good thing about that is like they don't allow a lot of rush yards, and obviously Texas A&M they can't pass the ball, so.
Exactly. So if Texas A&M could throw the ball, then I would be okay.
Yeah,
then they might lose. But
what do you think about the under here? Because it's 48.5. But right now, dude, listen to this. The under is 9-0 in Texas A&M's last 9 games in September.
Under.
Yeah, I think the under might be the play here because I don't know if like you said, I don't know if Texas A&M can score over 20 points a game. You know what I mean? So the fact that like I don't trust them offensively, they do play good defense. Like you gotta tip your cap. They do play good defense. But Arkansas, like you said, we said they stopped the run, and that's what Texas A&M wants to do. So this could really be an ugly ass game, like it was last year. It was a 2010 game last year. Could very well be the same kind of game this year.
I agree.
I like the under.
I like Arkansas, but the under is definitely a good bet too.
I'll write that down though right now. Under 47.5. I like that. All right, let's move on to our last game here. We got Kansas State versus Oklahoma. Right now, this is in Norman, Oklahoma, by the way. Right now, Oklahoma.
No, we got second to last, USC Oregon State.
Oh, we'll save that one for last.
Mm-hmm.
So second to last game, we got Oklahoma versus Kansas State. Right now, Oklahoma in Norman, minus 13.5. What's your thoughts on this game?
This is Oklahoma's first test of the season against both our dark horse to actually be a Big 12 contender, which in Kansas State. I like what I've seen from Adrian Martinez so far. He's using his legs, he's using his arm, he's not turning the ball over at an
They looked like
alarming rate.
shit last week, though.
Yeah, he looked terrible last week, but I think he bounces back this week and they give Oklahoma a run for their money. I'll see Oklahoma winning a close game, but I definitely got Kansas State being able to pull the upset or cover. I don't think they're getting blown out at all because as far as offense, they're well, they averaging 350. Oklahoma is averaging 500, but that's super duper skewed because they play some horrible teams.
Yep.
This is their first test of the year, and I don't think Oklahoma is going to rush for 190 something yards against Kansas State. Kansas State hangs their hat on playing pretty good defense. I don't know, man, but it did lose to Tulane though.
But dude, we talk about letdown spot. Like
Yeah,
I totally think that was a bad spot, dude.
Yeah, that was a super letdown. Because they beat Missouri 40-12, and Missouri can score. They're not a great defensive team, but they can score with pretty much anybody. They got a good offense.
Yeah, I thought for sure. Like I even took Tulane last week because I should have made it one of my top 5 bets, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked Tulane to cover last week because I did think that it was a letdown spot for Kansas State because they did have Oklahoma on the horizon.
Yeah.
Now Kansas State has been very good against Oklahoma lately. You know, if you remember last year, they were holding a lead against Oklahoma for most of the game. Oklahoma comes back. Caleb Williams does his thing. Oklahoma wins 37-31. Kansas State covers the 12. Year before that, Kansas State with the upset, 38-35. Kansas State covers 28 points. Year before that, Kansas State wins again, 48-41. They cover the 23.5. I mean, Kansas State always covers against Oklahoma. They always play Oklahoma tough. That's why last week was a bad spot to be a Kansas State backer. Now, this is a game where we back Kansas State. We take the points here. They might lose. Okay, yes, they're in Norman, but they always play Oklahoma well.
Yeah, I think this game is definitely going to be close. Take Kansas State with the points.
Yeah, I like the points here. Right now, Oklahoma getting 67% of the bets. Kansas State getting 63% of the money. This is best bet material for the week, baby.
This is probably gonna be one of my best bets, honestly.
Give me K-State plus 13.5 all day long.
Yeah, and what's the name hasn't seen a D1 opponent the whole season because Nebraska should be an FCS school this year. So let's see what.
That's no joke either.
Let's see what Oklahoma is made out of.
And this is the other thing too, Irv, is like I don't like we both aren't very high on Dylan Gabriel, but there's no way Dylan Gabriel is gonna run like he did against Nebraska, dude. Like he was running all over Nebraska, and it was like because they couldn't tackle.
Yeah, he's gonna get hurt if he runs like that against Kansas State.
And Kansas State is one of the better tackling teams in the country.
Yeah.
So I like Kansas State here. I really like Mims though, the wide receiver of Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's nice, and the other receiver is nice with the long ass two last names. I can't think of his name, but he's pretty good too.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's move on to our last game, the best game. The USC Trojans. They head into Beaver Stadium to face Oregon State. This game is at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right now, USC -6 road favorites.
It won't be watched by many unless you got Spectrum because you're on the Pac-12 network. But this is another game. They kept building up Fresno State to be USC's first challenge of the year. USC beats the shit out of them. Now it's Fresno State wasn't that good, so their real challenge now is going on the road against Oregon State, a team that could pound the ball and all that good jazz. Now I'll say this: if Oregon State can run the ball like they did against USC last year, which I highly doubt, then they got a shot at winning this game. But if they don't, they got to depend on their quarterback, Chance Nolan, who's what I would like to call Reggie. He's mid.
Yep.
He's not that good of a quarterback. And let's be real, USC opportunistic defense, it's going to get better as the year goes on, but we're going to keep it 100. USC's best defense is their offense right now.
Yep.
That offense puts so much pressure on teams that have to score 7 points or keeps matching them with touchdowns. And when the offense is pressing, that's how you make mistakes. That's how you get fumbles. That's how you get interceptions. So I think USC is going to continue to do that to teams, especially in the Pac-12 and whoever else they play the rest of the season, because I don't see a team that can stop that offense on a consistent basis. And we've seen what Oregon State is on defense. They have two good corners. The front seven is okay. Of course, they're going to play a little bit over their head because they're playing SC. All Pac-12 teams give SC their best shot, but they just don't have enough in the chamber to hang with SC, bro. SC's operating at a different level than pretty much any Pac-12 team I've seen so far that I've watched play. And that's not me being biased. That's just me keeping it 100 on what I see with my eyes. I don't think nobody in the country could stick those wide receivers man to man.
Yeah, I will say, well, you can't play USC man at all either because then you allow Caleb Williams to get out and use his legs. And we saw that kind of against Fresno. Once whatever they were in, they were kind of checking out of. And if they were in man, they would go to RPO. If they were in zone, then they would kind of just pick it apart. I did think Caleb Williams left a lot of plays on the field, though. He missed a ton of throws, which, he's going to watch the film
I went back and
and
watched it. He missed like 5 throws. Two of them looked pretty bad because it would have been 2 touchdowns because 2 dudes was wide open.
I was about to say 2 of them were 6 points.
He'll correct that. I'm sure him and Lincoln
he watched the film
back. The tape.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So I expect him to be a lot better in that aspect. And Oregon State hasn't been great against the run. They're allowing 142 yards on the ground, and they haven't played a great rushing team yet. And keep in mind, Boise State, they were up 28-7 so quick that Boise State couldn't even run the ball. Like they had to throw the ball. And the other thing is Taylon Green, the backup quarterback for Boise State that went into that game in game 1,
ran all over
Oregon State. It's going to be very similar with Caleb Williams, except Caleb Williams can throw the football. I think that's going to be the biggest difference in this game. And it has been the biggest difference in all of USC's games is that the Caleb Williams' ability to run the football and with his arm talent, I mean, it's just second to none, dude.
Yeah.
Like, normally you don't get an athletic quarterback that can throw like that outside of a guy named Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. You know what I mean? But that's who Caleb Williams is. And if he were draft eligible this year, he would be the first overall pick, in my opinion.
Easily.
So I think that while, yes, this is in Beaver Stadium, and yes, USC does struggle there historically, this is another one of those games where the market is just still in wait-and-see mode against USC.
Yeah, they're not respecting them yet at all.
At all. And I think that they're going to learn again this week. Like, I think a touchdown is too little. If this was 7.5, I might think about taking Oregon State. But if I'm getting less than a touchdown, I'm taking USC.
If I'm getting less than 10 points, I'm taking USC.
Nah, Oregon State's better than Stanford.
They're not better than Fresno State. I don't think they're better than Fresno State, honestly.
They beat Fresno State at home.
Yeah, on a last-second touchdown.
Yeah, and I mean, Jake Haener, like, he was slicing and dicing this Oregon State team. So I mean, what's Caleb Williams gonna do?
With better receivers. So good luck, Oregon State. Shout out to their fan base, but I think it's gonna get ugly. And they're in Corvallis, right?
They are in Corvallis, Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, because the Clucks are in Eugene. That's how you remember it.
The over/under right now is the total is at 71. What do you think about this?
I'll take. I think USC gets to the 40s.
So I will say this before you give your answer. Over win totals over 70 points are like they hit like 22% of the time. The over does.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like if it gets to 70, you automatically just take the under.
Yeah, I'll take the under.
But you know, USC isn't the greatest offense, and like you said, I mean, I'm sorry, the greatest defense, and like you said, they kind of do put pressure on you. So it could go both ways, dude. It could be a high scoring game, or it could be like the Fresno State Fresno State and Stanford situation where like Stanford was they're forcing a lot of throws because they knew they had to keep up, right? So I think that could be a big thing here. And Chase Nolan is definitely he's worse than Jake Hayner or Tanner McKee. So this is definitely like a step down from what they've been facing. You know what I mean? No offense to Chase Nolan if he's listening.
Yeah, no offense. Those are two NFL quarterbacks.
You're a better quarterback than me, but
yeah,
you know, I'm
definitely
sitting here talking shit. It is what it is. All right, let's get a couple bets. Let's go, y'all. Let's get some best bets out of these games, there. So
my two best bets is USC -6, and I like Washington plus 6.5 at home.
All right, nice.
Washington State plus
6.5, USC -6. My two best bets, I'm going Arkansas, Texas A&M under 47.5. You know, 9 straight games hitting the under is pretty impressive, and Texas A&M cannot score the ball, so I like that one. And then I'm gonna take K-State plus 13.5. They always play Oklahoma very tough. Last 3 games are 3-0 against the spread and 2-0 straight up. And I think this Kansas State team is better than either of those teams, so give me Kansas State. Let's get this money and let's go. All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week. We'll be recapping all these college football games. We'll be talking about all the big stuff that happened. Hopefully, we get a ton of upsets, so we have a lot to talk about. Hopefully, one of those upsets is not USC though. I'll be back on Sunday night with Big Ball and Ben Larson. We'll be breaking down NFL Week 3. Go to Tavour. Make sure to use promo code Taproom. You can download the app. Go to Tavour.com. Use promo code Taproom for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to leave your couch. We got a lot of football coming up, so there's no better time to drink beer than now. We're Swerving Ervin, Washington.
No IPAs.
Hey, those are the best. I'm Jordan Stacks on Stacks, lads. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Let's get this money. Our top 5 picks will be coming out tomorrow. Make sure to follow us. Let's go.